I was born on the 18th day of the month of Adar. Today we are on the 17th day of the month of Adar. Truth be told, I was born on first Adar. First Adar is a month that exists really only 7 out of 19 years. Okay, it happens on the 3rd, 6th, 8th, 11th, 14th, 17th, and 19th year of every 19-year cycle, according to Jewish tradition. So really, you have to, if you want to find my true age, you have to multiply it by 7 and divide it by 19, and then you see that I'm actually younger than even 42, which might sound like crazy young for you, but truth is I'm much younger. I'm gonna live to be like 280 eventually, just so you know. So stick around. Okay, that's the plan. But this year we only have 1 month of Adar, so I'm celebrating on the regular Adar. That's as far as the Jewish calendar. And my birthday, and thank you for all the warm happy birthday greetings. You don't understand how much this community means to me, the community of our learning. You don't, unless it means to you also.
It means a lot to me.
So yeah, it means a lot to me. I think that even my family do not realize how much, because they don't have that, they don't see that interaction as often, and so they know my students are important to me, but they don't really feel that experience as I do. And I want to thank you for being part of it, and I want to thank God for making it a possibility in my life. I'm not taking it lightly. Now, thank you very much. And moving on to something related to the war. So we cannot do much in many of the fronts of this war. I did my miluim, but you could not. It's not. I'm sure you volunteered. I'm sure some of you supported causes and so forth. And I appreciate, and my head is off for you. But something that we can do is related to something that happened to me this week with Ulysses. Ulysses, would you like to tell the story of what happened, please?
Sure, I'd be delighted to. So I was in a meeting on a Sunday morning, I think, and there's a group of people, mostly, I don't know, some Christians or evangelicals or Catholic, I don't know where they, but it's a group of people with good intentions to pray, and I was there with them. And after they gave a brief update on the war, there is a person who goes often to Israel, and she works with the Palestinians. And I talked to Netanel some time ago about a group of friends of her who were stuck in a church, and we were talking about that, but it's the same person. And people said, well, let's ask her what is her opinion about this, because somebody has sent a message saying we are school was canceled, and we are sending you this text from the hallway in her apartment. And then when they asked her, she came to the microphone and said that the reason why the person was sending a message from the hallway is because Arabs and Israel don't have bomb shelters, but Jews do. And then she highlighted by saying, I know it shouldn't be, but that's the way it is. And that just, you can read my message there. It makes me so angry that she would say something like that. So I reached out immediately. I was like shaking. I reached out immediately to Nathan, and I was like, please tell me this is not true, because I know it's not true. So that's the story. And I was going to meet with her today, but she canceled, because I wanted to show to her that she was wrong. And then the next meeting, she should come out to the microphone and correct how she was misleading the people with something that was not true. So did I said everything?
Yeah, yeah. So immediately, I was moved by it. My first response, as you can see, is a little bit, did you bother checking if it's a fact? Because listen, I don't feel that I'm part of a propaganda machine. I just, argue the facts and the context of the facts, because that's important as well. So immediately we started talking, and I explained to Ulysses that building regulations in Israel do not care if you're Arab, if you're Jewish, if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, if you're Druze, if you're an alien. Alien, I mean not illegal worker, I mean alien like green with tentacles. As long as you're building a house in Israel since the 90s, according to regulations, you have to have a safe room. That's building code. It's not like you may, it's the law. Now, certain, and then Ulysses said, yes, I believe you roughly, I'm paraphrasing, but you're Jewish. It's not surprising you're saying you're protecting the Jews. He didn't say that. I'm paraphrasing. I'm kind of, so he said, I would love to hear an Arab saying it. So I reached out to Robert. You remember Robert, he was here back a few years ago. And Robert sent Ulysses a message explaining roughly that. Robert added that some of the Arabs decided not to build these. I pointed out another thing about it, but he said, listen, traditionally, the Hamas and the Hezbollah, or especially the Hezbollah back then, would try to avoid striking Arab towns, okay? So Arabs felt, in Israel, most of the Arabs and the Jews do not live in the same towns. They live in different towns, traditionally. I'm not saying that there are certain cities like Jerusalem, Jaffa, Haifa, Lod, Ramle, Akko. There are certain Beersheba, certain places where you do get Jews and Arab living side by side, sometimes in the same building even. But most of the Jews and the Arabs live separately. So the Arab, mainly Hezbollah, was trying not to fire rockets at Arab towns. So traditionally, Arabs living in Israel were more relaxed about having protection. And traditionally, for the state, okay, the state, generally speaking, is not enforcing the law as rigorously in rural, especially rural Arab areas, because of lack of corporations and so forth. So according to the law, everyone who built a house past 1991, 2 has to have a safe room. 3 depends, like it was legislation, but basically following the first Gulf War. And the legislation that came after that has to have a safe room. Okay, it doesn't matter what you are. Historically speaking, buildings that were built before, like my parents, my in-laws, didn't have safe rooms. Many of them, by the way, built during the last war. Both my parents and my in-laws built safe rooms during the war. Okay, they had that they understood what's going on. The state gave them permission to build an additional room, which would be a safe room. Okay, so that this is how the state encouraged people to add a room to their house. It costs a lot of money to build it, but because it's fortified concrete, it's not a regular room. So this many people built during the war, and there might be statistically a difference between the percentage of people that decided to follow the law and to make sure they have, both in the individual level as well as in the municipality level. Okay, let's say there is a Jewish town and an Arab town. The Arab town, the mayor says, listen, people don't pay their taxes much, which is, again, statistically correct. If you want to check the statistics, check them. And I have to decide, do I invest money in now building a something that will be used, let's say, I don't know, center for sports, let's say, okay? Or building a communal shelter. Then the mayor, who is an Arab himself, it's an Arab town, he might decide to allocate funds for a certain project and not another project. So that's also might be some cause for difference. Again, I did not check the statistics, but that's, the law is the same law. The difference is not related to the system or the law. And this is something that we can all do, because it used to be that it was, Israel was a bipartisan issue and everybody agreed on that subject in America or in some places. Today, it's a very contested issue. And I think that we can talk with people and explain the facts. And especially since, the last year, I think that forgive me for talking a little bit about politics, but some people on the left have been going crazy for the last few years, but now it's also on the right in America. People that claim to have a Christian point of view over these events, such as Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and names like that, have been raving anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli nonsense in they few days ago, Tucker Carlson blamed Chabad for the war. Like, people are going crazier by the moment. So this is something that we can do. We can have the pulse, we can feel the pulse, and we can fight for the facts. And if you ever come across a situation like that, please do what Ulysses did and reach out to me. Reach out. I will give you the facts. I will give you the context of the facts. And if you need, someone else, not Netanel, is not good enough, I'll get you someone better, okay? Okay, so thank you for reaching out, Ulysses, and I hope it helps. I do hope it helps. And that's our small effort that we can do. Yes, Jackie?
Yes, Tucker Carlson does not speak for Christians. He is a horrible, horrible person. I have tried to call him on the phone to tell him that he needs to just shut up with his lies, but I can't get through to him. But please ignore him. He is a terrible, terrible person.
I would gladly ignore him. Unfortunately, I'm not, I'm trying not to be like the ostrich. And I think that he has a very substantive following. I think he's wrong. Don't get me wrong. He is wrong. He is, in my opinion, maliciously wrong. And I think that he's getting Qatari money, and I think that he is misinterpreting Christianity, and even more misinterpreting Judaism and misinterpreting the political events. And he is completely biased. I don't think that he represents anything. Unfortunately, he has a following. So this is why I'm saying all of this, Jackie. So
maybe half of his followers are bots.
Are bots, okay? Maybe, you know what? I prefer presenting the facts and fighting this, assuming that he has real following, than one day realizing that he had, and I thought these are bots. Okay? It's not me, just, I think that it's unbelievable, and guys, I could show you my phone and show you the podcast I follow. I listen to him as well, because I want to hear these things.
Did you see that Marine?
Come again?
Did you see that Marine? I don't even trust the American military no more, especially
Oh
being a
yeah,
Jew.
the Marine in the Senate, with the senator in the.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very
I
anti-Semitic.
listen,
Exceedingly.
but he is just the manifestation of ideas that I know and I hear from Tucker Carlson and others like that. So he is.
Yeah, he's for real. See, when I was in the military, I wouldn't even let him put down that I'm a Jew. It is very anti-Semitic in the American military. That is a fact.
Who is he? Who are you talking about?
There was a Marine. I don't know if he's retired or still in duty. He had his uniform, but I think he is a
He
veteran.
wasn't supposed to have his uniform on, but you're allowed to wear your uniform anytime if you're active duty.
Right. So